Hello everyone. Today one of our student has asked a very nice question as a doubt. So let us start solving it. Limit n tends to infinity 1 plus x into 1 plus x square into 1 plus x raised to 4 dot 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 1 plus x raised to 2 raised to n is equal to question mark if mod x is less than 1. So how to do such kind of questions? So the pretty simple trick is this, that if you see something like this, it's a Pac-Man series. I call this as Pac-Man. आपने देखा है पैकमैन का गेम कैसे होता है, वो एक एक करके डॉट खाते जाता है. ये कुछ वैसे ही है बेटा. मैं क्या करूँगा पता है, इसको 1 माइनस एक्स से मल्टीप्लाई डिवाइड कर दूंगा. जैसे ही मैं इसको 1 माइनस एक्स से मल्टीप्लाई डिवाइड करता हूँ ना, मज़ा आ जाएगा देखना. कर दिया तो होगा क्या, ये 1 माइनस एक्स इंटू 1 प्लस एक्स जो है, ये वाला पार्ट 1 माइनस एक्स स्क्वायर हो जाएगा. सो 1 माइनस एक्स स्क्वायर 1 प्लस एक्स स्क्वायर 1 प्लस एक्स रेज टू 4 एंड सो ऑन अप टू 1 प्लस एक्स रेज टू 2 रेज टू n. And the denominator as usual will remain the same, which is 1 minus x. Again if you see, a minus b, a plus b is formed. So this will be a square minus b square. So that will be 1 minus x raised to 4, a square minus b square, 1 plus x raised to 4. So as you can see and notice that each bracket is being eaten because of the earlier step that we have done. So what happens exactly, if you have 1 plus x raised to 4, the previous brackets will automatically give 1 माइनस एक्स रेस टू 4. तो इसके आगे 1 प्लस एक्स रेस टू 8 रहेगा, करेक्ट. और 1 माइनस एक्स रेस टू 4 एंड 1 प्लस एक्स रेस टू 4 मिलके 1 माइनस एक्स रेस टू 8 बनाएंगे. तो जो आगे का ब्रैकेट होता है, पीछे के सारे ब्रैकेट मिलके उसका a माइनस बी देते हैं. तो सबसे लास्ट वाला ब्रैकेट बेटा ये है 1 प्लस एक्स रेस टू 2n. तो उसके पीछे डेफिनेटली 1 माइनस एक्स रेस टू 2 रेस टू n, 1 प्लस एक्स रेस टू 2 रेस टू n अपॉन 1 माइनस एक्स, ऐसा कुछ प्रोड्यूस हो जाएगा. Now if you observe carefully, a square minus b square, so a square minus x raised to 2 raised to n the whole square upon 1 minus x, and that will be 1 minus x raised to 2 raised to n into 2 upon 1 minus x. Remember, a raised to b raised to c is equal to a raised to bc, right? So 2 raised to n into 2, this is 2 raised to 1. So that will ultimately be 1 minus x raised to 2 raised to n plus 1, laws of indices upon 1 minus x. So our sum of limit now changes to L equal to limit n tends to infinity 1 minus x raised to 2 raised to n plus 1 upon 1 minus x. Now n is infinity, so mod x is less than 1. That means x is a number which is lesser than 1. Now if for a number lesser than 1 you give power infinity, it becomes 0, and if for a number greater than 1 you give power infinity, it becomes infinity. So let's understand this. Lesser than 1 means what? It could be anything. Let me take an example of 0.5. So 0.5 raised to 1 is 0.5, 0.5 square is 0.25, 0.5 cube is 0.125, 0.5 raised to 4 is 0.60625, and so on. As you can see, as I am increasing the powers of the number is getting closer to 0. That means 0.5 raised to infinity will definitely be 0. I can give a simpler explanation. 0.5 raised to infinity can be written as 1 by 2 raised to infinity. 1 raised to infinity by 2 raised to infinity. So this will be 1 and this will be infinity, which is 0. Now any number which is lesser than 1 can be expressed in such a reciprocal format or in such a denominator by denominator format, and that is why the denominator will be greater, because number is lesser than 1. So that is why any number lesser than 1 when given infinity power becomes 0. Now our sum was limit n tends to infinite and 1 minus x raised to 2 raised to n plus 1 upon 1 minus x. As this number x is lesser than 1, so I will call it as 1 minus, and given power 2 raised to infinity plus 1, which is infinity. So this will turn to 0. So that means our answer is 1 minus 0 upon 1 minus x. एक चीज़ का याद रखना, ध्यान रखना कि लिमिट n को है, x को नहीं, तो x लिखा जा सकता है, n सब्सटीट्यूट होगा 1/1 माइनस एक्स. So 1/1 minus x is actually 1 minus x raised to 1. According to laws of indices, it will be 1 minus x raised to minus 1. So your final answer, as you can see in the options, has to be option D. I hope you understood this concept and uh, you like this concept and you will utilize this concept in the questions that will come up further. Be enthusiastic, understand limits, understand calculus, and do well in your exams. All the best.